Ballyhoo and welcome. The Passion Project continues. My name is Remedy Robinson. I'm a linguist, author, and an ardent fan. And this is an appreciation. This is an exploration of linguistics, language, and astute social commentary as framed by the peerless poetry of the modern-day master, Elvis Costello. Today's slow drag is with this Sad Burlesque from the Juliet Letters, released in 1993. The songwriting is credited to Elvis Costello's birth name. This piece, presented in the form of a letter, is a part of the many different types of letters that can be found on this entire album. Paired to perfection with the Bronsky Quartet, the framework of this album was inspired by the centuries-old custom of sending letters of heartbreak to Juliet in Verona, Italy. Written in what feels like a faint pencil rather than thick ink, this sad burlesque uses a light touch as it reports upon gloom and doom. I write in hope by the time you get this letter, we may live to see a change for the better. Or are we so devoted to these wretched, selfish motives? When the cold facts and figures all add up, they cannot contradict this sad burlesque. What starts with a hope ends in comedy. If we follow the etymology of the word burlesque, it's from the 17th century Italian word burla, meaning joke, parody, or mockery. Interestingly, Mr. Costello modifies this word with sad, yet it's told using the repetition of the K sound, found in such words as cold, facts, cannot, contradict, and even burlesque. The auditory result is a phonetic device often found in comedy. From the book Comedy Writing, Mel Brooks points out that, quote, instead of saying salmon, the word turkey is a funnier sound. It just helps, he says. Why is the K sound funnier? It could be traced back to infancy and how the sound provides comfort, but I tend to think simply, it sounds kind of like laughter. If I came up to you and I said moo, you'd probably wonder what I was on about, but if I came up to you and said quack quack, you'd probably wonder what I was on about, but it would occur while you were chuckling just a bit. So in this first verse, the listener is presented with verbal sincerity, the hope for something better, just before what might be considered an oxymoron of a sad comedy is expressed, all while using inherently comical phonology to tell its story. This sad burlesque, with miserable failures making entertainment of our fates, laughter cannot dignify or elevate this sad burlesque. The practice of burlesque is a wonderfully nostalgic pursuit that began in Victorian England in the mid-19th century. Taking culturally lofty material, such as operas and Shakespeare plays, burlesque shows created pantomime extravaganzas rather than sincere art. Today it conjures ornate and risque dances and costumes often associated with nightclubs and cabarets. Now can they recall being young and idealistic before wading knee-deep in hogwash and arithmetic, the pitying smirk, the argument that runs like clockwork will run down eventually and splutter to a stop? According to an article I found on Mashable, burlesque can also be applied to literature, music, and theater. Described as lowbrow by many, the Philistine audience were nevertheless assumed to have had a fair level of literacy in order to get the highbrow references. It seems burlesque is quite the confounding form of entertainment. Rhyming the low-frequency words of idealistic and arithmetic certainly pays credit to the reader of this letter. Hogwash and clockwork are also a truly inspired pairing, as are smirk and clockwork. There's a gorgeous play on words where predictable arguments break down like an old car. It's the embodiment of a modern world that eventually dies of its own hubris. P.S. Well, by now you know the worst of it, and we've heard all the alibis that they've rehearsed, the smug predictions, and if it's not a contradiction, please have faith in human nature and have mercy on the creatures in this sad burlesque. This is such a beautiful afterthought, conceding that the letter has probably not arrived in time to see changes for the better. The smug predictions might very well describe the predisposition of the letter's author, providing a nevertheless kind of caveat. What started as a salutation seems to have evolved into a prayer, perhaps. The reference to having mercy on the creatures puts me in mind of James Herriot's novel, All Creatures Great and Small, with the sense that the mercy is extended to far more than what we as individuals can see through our wretched, selfish motives. This sad burlesque, with miserable failures making entertainment of our fate. Laughter cannot dignify or elevate this sad burlesque.
Dig it.
Again, this has been a slow drag with This Sad Burlesque from 1993's The Juliet Letters. If it's not meant as a prayer, then I cannot begin to guess what type of letter this is or who it is intended for. That's part of its appeal, I'd argue. It's a sincere piece that echoes with contradictory and universal truths. It's just lovely. And that's it for today's slow drag, my friend. Thank you for listening. I encourage you to re-listen to episode 12 of Slow Drag with Remedy, The Maddening Smile. It's a slow drag with Damnation Cellar, as well as episode 32, Pass the Vinegar, a slow drag with I Almost Had a Weakness. Both episodes are slow drags with more gems from the Juliet Letters. Please follow us on Twitter at Slow Drag Remedy. We follow back. Please visit our companion blog for transcripts and references included in each episode. Everyone has a podcast, it's true, and I'm proud to say that this one's mine. Thank you for helping get the word out about this little passion project. Truly, it means the world. So, until next time, adieu, my little ballyhoo. Slow drag with Remedy.